For me, it deeply saddens me to know that my brothers are going to.
Are you from North Korea yourself?
I am, yes.
And may I ask when you left North Korea?
Yes, so I left North Korea twice.
Okay.
First time in 2008,
Okay.
and second time in 2011.
2011.
And the reason why I had to escape North Korea again was I got captured in China, and I was sent back to North
Sent back
Korea.
again, okay.
And then I went to like a North Korean defectors detention center. It's like an equivalent of prison camp.
Okay.
And then I went to go work at a coal mine for a while, about a year. And then in the coal mine, I saw a lot of accidents happening. People are, dying and losing their limbs. So, I thought to myself, well, it's gonna be me one day. So might as well try to escape North Korea again, because I knew the way and I knew what life was like outside of North Korea. So I've decided to escape again, and I did in 2011.
You
and
made it
then
out this time.
yes,
Awesome.
I made it to China, and then from China, I went to. So we found a broker that was helping North Korean refugees out of China to Laos, and then from Laos to Thailand.
I got you.
And from Thailand, I applied for an international, because there is a international refugee camp in Thailand.
Right.
And then I applied for a political asylum to United Nations.
Did you have a passport or just like the equivalent of a driver's license in North Korea so that when you went to
That's
Thailand, you had some sort of documentation of who you were?
No, I didn't have anything, because I was a minor when I was in North Korea.
Okay.
So I didn't have like that, we call that a 공민증, right? So it's like a proof of like citizenship.
Right.
Like a 공민증, but the minors don't get that. Like when you go to like military, and when you finish military, then you get the So I didn't have that, but
I can imagine that being a refugee without the proof of citizenship of who you are, where you come from, it would be that much more difficult to get out into the world, to cross those borders, to come to the U.S.
That's right. Well, and also it's really helpful that there are 2,000, almost 40,000 North Korean refugees that are resettled in South Korea.
Right.
And South Korea and North Korea is a very small country.
Yeah.
So everybody knows each other. So they've been known, like
Well,
I
it's
have friends,
families, right.
right. I have friends who escaped first.
Right.
And then I was like, oh yeah, I know that person, and we used to hang out a lot together. So it's kind of like, it works out,
And that brings me to my question, the whole reason that we're here. So recently in South Korea, there have been 2 impeachments of the presidents there. A lot of the reasons for that is because the initial president said that there was interactions with North Korea, that people were conspiring and doing bad things in South Korea because of North Korea. Is that true from your perspective? Are there people in North Korea working with South Koreans who are trying to destabilize the government? Was the president's martial law valid? Was it a real thing that he should have called martial law in order to cause the North Koreans to stop interfering with South Korean politics?
Wow, that's a great question. I can tell you from my perspective. I'm not an expert, and I haven't done much research on it, but like I just have a knowledge from like what I've seen online and what I've been hearing. So from what I'm hearing, the South Korean current president, he does not have a lot of like favors from the people of South Korea.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people actually likes him. And from what I'm hearing, there is no North Korean agents or spies working in the South Korean Congress.
Right.
It was just the president's last attempt to
Just try to stay in power.
stay in power. That's why he put on a martial law, and it wasn't valid. He shouldn't have done it. I think he shot himself in the foot, and I think he might be going to prison for a long time. Yeah, that's
what
my
I've been
personal.
hearing over here on this side is that
Right.
it was a big mistake for him that he wasn't supposed to do it because these conspiracies weren't actually there.
Right.
But we as Americans don't know if that's true.
Yeah,
Are there
yeah.
conspiracies for North Korea against South Korea? I'm guessing there would be.
I mean,
like the war
historic.
never ended
Right.
between the U.S. and North Korea,
Right,
right?
right, right.
Technically, we're still at war.
That's right.
South Korea is one of our biggest allies.
That's right.
It wouldn't be surprising to me to hear that there are spies and such going into South Korea, sabotaging Samsung and those other large industries.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, historically that was true, right?
Yeah.
Historically, that is true. That it is true that North Korea has been sending spies disguised as a North Korean defectors,
Sure.
right? And then going into like a South Korean, like a Congress and wherever. But like it recently, that has not been the case, right? So.
I hear from 2011 they started sending them over here toward the U.S. Wait a couple years, then bring them over here, right? So it's good to have you here, the direct conspiracy actor.
So I didn't. Well, I didn't resettle in South Korea first. I came directly
From China, right?
from China
Yeah.
to America.
Right.
But yeah, it's a lot for life
Yeah.
for North Korean people in South Korea. It's tough, right? Because there is in South Korea.
Ideally, you would have those people there, and so you would integrate into the existing family or people that you would know in South Korea. I assume that would be the benefit.
Right. I mean, a lot of people a lot of North Korean defectors choose to go to South Korea because they speak the same language,
Sure.
right? Culture, the food, right? It's familiar
Certainly.
to them. But also at the same time, like South Korea is very competitive. Like it's a competitive society, right? It's like
Sure.
you have to. Everything is number based. Like the like if you. I guess like getting into a good college, right, and getting a good exam determines the outcome of your like the whole life kind of
Okay.
situation. But North Korean people comes to South Korea and they're not educated, right? They don't have a skill,
To start from the bottom. work
right?
their
Start
way
from
up.
the bottom, and because of that, there's a lot of conflicts. Like
A lot of people who immigrate into the U.S. will start from the bottom and then make a better life for their kids so that their kids would have the better life for them.
That's
and
right,
it sounds
yeah.
like that's a lot of things when you go from north to south, set up a good life and try to raise your family up.
that's right, yeah. And a lot of like North Korean people escape from South Korea because North Korean people escape from North Korea because they want a better life for their kids
Right,
as
right.
well. Yeah.
Do you have time for one more question?
Yes.
Or should we
Yes.
call it?
No. Go for it. I hope that answered your question though. 'cause-
Fantastic. I mean, this is wonderful. I've just been looking at all these things on YouTube, wondering how real they are. So having
Yeah.
a real, intelligent conversation, I do appreciate that.
Well, thank you.
One more thing that North Korea has been in the news about recently. They're invading Ukraine.
That's right.
And more so, they're trying to defend Russia. Russia is using over 10,000 North Koreans in order to defend Kursk from the incursion from the Ukrainians into Kursk. How would the North Koreans in general feel about sending their troops in order to defend Russia? I know that North Korea and Russia share a border, but it's literally 3,000 to 4,000 miles away from where the actual action is happening.
That's right.
How do you think North Koreans feel about their domestic troops on foreign soil dying?
That is a great question.
Do you think they would even know about it, first of all? Yeah.
Well, personally for me, it deeply saddens me to know that my brothers are going to war that isn't for them and dying and bleeding. It saddens me to know that. And like Kim Jong-un, like I think he sent. It's my personal opinion again. So he sent this 18,000 North Korean troops to Russia, and those 18,000 are combinations between new recruits, like fresh out of like high school, fresh out of schools, and then a political criminal, right? It's a person who actually committed a crime that was sent to political prison camp, but now. Because one of them actually found, like one of the North Korean soldiers who had been killed, he actually was found with a document that have said, "Oh, thank you so much for the opportunity for me to serve the country when I actually betrayed the country." So that has been confirmed that the 18,000 units are combinations between like fresh recruits and like criminals. But regardless, like people do know, like North Korean people do know about like the Ukrainian war and what's happening. And well, I've left North Korea back in 2011, so it's been like a while, right? But there are certain things that never change, like dictatorship, for example. And I'm sure like people are afraid to actually speak up, right? People are afraid to say no.
I imagine that they would be afraid to speak up or afraid to protest because of the negatives that would come back to them. I would assume that the political establishment would try to limit the amount of information that's shown outside of North Korea, and the information that is shown would be heavily controlled.
That's right, yeah.
Is the internet similar to China, where it's very locked down and only limited information is visible for a standard person without a VPN?
So in North Korea, there is no internet.
No internet at all. Yeah, that makes that easy.
A person, we can't search. We don't have Google or we don't have internet. Though within the universities, like Kim Il Sung University and Kim Jong Il's like the political universities,
Right.
they do have a thing called intranet. So within the university or college like network, they can search like books in the libraries and things like that.
Right.
But we don't have like the World Wide Web. We don't have like the www or VPNs.
There's so many people who consider electricity, water, and now internet as, just part of life's, something that every person should have, a basic need.
Right.
So it's so interesting to hear that the government is preventing that basic need from rising up. So I think maybe as a good way to end here, we'll say thank you so much for your time. I've really enjoyed learning so much more about North Korea. I hope that those folks are able to rise up and learn more, right? The knowledge, the South Koreans continue dropping those knowledge bombs in there so people have access to media and to the internet. Hopefully that will help grow the information and help them to find the right solution for them, hopefully democratic solution. Thank you, sir.
So nice to meet you and thank you so much for your questions.